Hi, everybody. Tonight I am chatting with Cassie from the National Residents Association, which is fantastic because we recently collaborated just prior to the launch of Connect the Dots, our PHA's community action initiative. It's important, I think, at this point to just say that Connect the Dots is not only about inspiring people to come together in their communities, but it's also about bringing great organizations together that are already doing really great stuff out there within their communities, so that we're all working together and not owning different things. Sorry, the dog. It's important that we all do it together because together we are obviously so much stronger. I approached Cassie a couple of months ago because I saw the great work she was doing with the National Residents Association, and it just aligns perfectly with Connect the Dots and what it's about. So, welcome, Cassie. Great
Hello,
to see
Lisa.
you.
Good to see you.
We were together recently at the Wellness Way Festival, which
Very
was
good.
amazing. And Cassie was kind enough to take part in a panel discussion along with Lisa Steele and Dr. Jenny Goodman. And the title of that panel discussion was How to Reclaim Our Health in the UK. So Lisa talked about shifting the paradigm of healthcare through education, educating communities, training people within communities, so that they are able to take care of themselves and become more about prevention than cure. But if cure is needed, it's looking for the root cause. So re-educating people and creating healthy, compassionate communities. Jenny talked about the environmental effects, farming, nutrition, and how these are crucial to the health of communities. And Cassie came along to talk about the real issues that she's seeing affecting our communities that have created residents associations in their area because of the concerns of what's happening in the world. And we're going to talk a little bit about those issues, but also talk about the solutions, the wins. There's challenges, but there are ways to address these issues, and it all comes down to community and coming together. So I'll stop talking. I'm going to hand over to Cassie. And Cassie, just start by telling us how the National Residents Association came about.
All right. Well, what happened is obviously there's a magnitude of issues around the country, as we all know, ranging from a whole variety of different topics, and different communities are being impacted by different things. So I looked at, because I had started with an original project called Align, and I was looking at all the different segments of how we could sustain society when for the collapse. But what I realized quite early on, after about over a year of doing this project, I realized that we needed to get a way to break into the general public. And I looked at how the dynamics were being structured from the government essentially, and then they were filtering down to the councils in order to roll out the agenda. And I thought, well, a residents association based on a conversation that I had with somebody would be a really good idea. So that's when I said, well, I can't just have it working well in one area. I need to have a national residents association. I thought, well, it sounds very official. So, and I thought, well, actually, then people can focus on their own topics. So whatever their problem is in their area, they can then focus on the problem and then address it with the councils as well as the public, whilst gaining over public support and public favour, in order to have that pushback to then go over to the council and say, we don't want this. And that's how it's kind of grown, really, evolved from that.
Wow, that sounds great. I didn't know about the association. Do you have a website I could create?
Yes. Yeah, we've got a website, a Telegram channel. We've just started up a YouTube channel. We've also just started up again on Facebook. We're on Facebook, but it got removed. So, but
What What we'll do is we'll share the links to all of this. Once the recording goes out, we'll put all the links that we need in the description. So that was in 2022.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so how many residents associations do you have now?
I think there's at least about 20 plus off the top of my head. Yeah.
That's fantastic. We need all of those on our community directory so other people
Mm.
can find them
Yeah.
and contact them for inspiration as well. How do I get started? That kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we hold a regular every Tuesday we hold a regular call where we meet with different people in different areas to assess number one, what their problem is, how's it going, their campaign, we've got quite a few different areas looking at different topics ranging from wind turbine rollout, solar rollout, right the way over to other topics that I don't really want to mention on this call. And we discuss those very freely amongst our group so that we can help it. Number one, it supports people because people think, well, oh, maybe I can apply that to my area and maybe that will be successful. So yeah, we do that every week and we help people. So it's like an ongoing support. It's not just, here we
That's
are.
fantastic. And
Yeah.
people that have heard about you and are just interested in knowing more can attend those calls as well, can't they?
Yeah. So all they need to do really is get in contact with me. They can send me an email, or yeah, it's better to have an email. And then they can come and see what we're all about and what we're doing. And I think that's inspired people to join after being a part of
It
that
does.
call. Yeah,
Well, I think you realise then that you're not on your own, don't you? Because
yeah,
I think we can all, or most of us can see that things aren't quite right in the world. Some of us see more than others, but it starts with usually one issue, doesn't it? That they
yeah.
think, oh, well, that's not quite right. And when did all these 5G towers start popping up and, just starting to notice? So it's whatever really takes somebody's attention, doesn't it? And then it can grow from there in terms of connecting the dots, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there was a new group that we've had just started up, and they've already had a success story down in Weston-super-Mare. And I said to them, I said, go and get a Facebook page so that people in the local area, because before I'd even met them, they'd been really proactive. They'd been out and speaking to local residents. And then when I met them, I said, well, why don't you turn yourself into a resident association? And, set up a Facebook page because I said people need to come back to you so that you can feed them back what's going on and you can keep in contact with them because there's no point doing all this hard work and then for people not to be able to communicate back with people and knowing what other issues are going on. And they've already got over 600 people on their
Amazing.
on their Facebook, and that's the members of the general public. That's not just
Yes.
people like us. They're
Yeah.
just fantastic. So
Yeah.
lots of people in the general public, they just don't know what's going on. They're
Yeah.
probably scared, frightened, and especially with some of these things, new emerging issues that are happening around the country, people just don't know what to do and they feel paralyzed. And when people feel paralyzed, they just carry on with their lives and just ignore the big problems that are happening because they think to themselves, well, actually, what can I do about it? But because people like you and I are way more ahead of the curve, we know what's going on, we know the agenda. Therefore, we just need to get a message out to the general public that they can relate to in order to win them over. And it really is reasonably simple.
Yeah, I think so. So what are the major issues that you're seeing across the groups?
Well, okay, so we're seeing a lot of an unprecedented amount of renewable energy rollout. And so much so that I've made a film about that particular topic to showcase the severity and how widespread that is going to be. Because I think a lot of people now they might be driving up the motorways and seeing all they call them solar farms, but it's fields worth of with solar panels in them. And again, people they might be just driving past thinking, my God, but they don't realize that that's happening everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge problem. And then we move on to things like wind turbines. There's an application that I'm aware of where they're looking at putting 60 wind turbines in across the Yorkshire Dales. 60. And then we move on to something called battery energy storage systems, which are highly explosive. So and that's only a few segments of that particular rollout, which is coming in very thick and fast. And I think in total there's about 26 renewable energy types.
Yeah.
And that's
And
ranging
sorry,
from
can I just ask you, Cassie, and what is the problem that people have with the renewable energy?
the problem is really, I think, is it really a viable solution, number one? But how much land are we going to be occupying to place battery energy storage systems? So for an example, one battery energy storage system is about the same size as a shipping container. So when the solar panels are generated with electricity, or likewise the wind turbines, that then feeds back into the battery energy storage system, which holds that electricity for about 4 up to a maximum of 6 hours. So if you think about it, with all these huge shipping containers, and we're talking of sites like that might have 10, or there's one, I think there's a site, there's about 70 plus shipping containers going over all our land, just normal, and that's kind of in the Highlands area. So when you think about how much land that they're going to be occupying, and then the government are trying to build 1.5 million homes across this country, along with new data centers, along with all of these other renewable energy types, such as nuclear energies, power plants. So there's small mini nuclear reactors, they're called.
Yeah, but
And
nuclear energy can hardly be called sustainable energy. No.
well, and this is why we need to show people, because ultimately, if you think about it, the UK hardly ever sees sun. So I know we've had a few sunny days recently, but that's few and far between. We have rain very frequently. So if we're going to be heavily reliant upon solar energy, and then it's going to be occupying all our fields, I mean, solar panels should be on roof spaces. If if that is a viable source of energy, then they should be
It is.
over roof spaces, not in farming
Fields.
land. Yeah.
So there's 2 points to make is solar, but the government have admitted to dimming our sun, first of all.
Yeah.
Secondly, to Cassie's point, is the impact the planned rollout will have on our farmland. And Cassie, I think you told me a few weeks ago, if all imports was halted tomorrow, we can currently produce 60%, did you say, of
Yeah.
our requirements?
Yes, 60%. However, apparently I've also been told by a source that we produce a lot less than 60% of the grains, meat and fish and dairy and food supply is less. And these are from 2023 figures, Lisa. So they're not even current.
Yeah.
And that's government data. Yeah.
And so as we take away more and more of the land through these renewable, sustainable energy sources, that 60% or less is diminishing rapidly, isn't it? One solar farm was 10,000 acres, was it?
Yeah, just one. There's an
Just
application.
one.
Just one. I'll tell you what I would like to do. I'd like to share the screen, if that's okay, because I think it would just give people a visual of what I'm talking about, because I think it's extremely important. Yeah, and that's just one application. There's another group in Lincoln that are fighting 7,000 acres of solar farms. It's it's very unprecedented rollout, and I don't think that a lot of people really, because
I think the map that you're talking about is so impactful in terms of getting your head around the scale of this planned rollout that has already begun anyway.
what I think would be a great idea, Lisa, is I did it before, and basically I did it a kind of a slide that I've been traveling around the country with when I've been doing talks. And one lady got it turned into a banner. And I thought, well, that's a brilliant idea. But what I thought I'd do is maybe update it just slightly, and people could then take it to their stand in the parks to show people and turn it into a banner if they wanted to do so.
Yeah,
Because I think
very impactful.
it's very, yeah, because you've never seen anything like it before. It's quite, and it doesn't seem to be there. Getting a little bit worried now. Renewable energy planning database. Let me just see where it is. I'm hoping that they haven't hid it again. Let's just hope not.
And has the government justified what's the reasoning between, like, behind the development of solar farms? Well, apart from the obvious going carbon neutral by 2030.
Yes, a lot of it is to do with, they say, they've advised that it's to do with the war with Russia. So if you look at the government stats, they will, sorry, the government literature about renewable energy, most of the main driver is to do with the it being unreliable because of the war with Ukraine and Russia. So that's what they tell us. So I'll just share my screen a minute. So this here is the renewable energy planning database. So if we can zoom in on this particular slide, this is the official government data, and anybody can go and access this information if they wish to do so. But so let's just say, so these are solar farms, and I mean, some of them are just on reef spaces, so it's not just completely in fields and farming land, but it will tell you where it is. It will also tell you the planning application number. So, for instance, if it's in, South Cambridgeshire, you would need to look at South Cambridgeshire Council website, but this one's already operational. However, you get other ones where they're saying that have just been submitted. So the purple ones are it's an application submitted, and that's in Herefordshire. But as you can see, they're all over the country. So the blue ones, the dark blue dots are wind turbines.
Yeah.
And then the purple is, and then you can filter out. So these are all the renewable energy types. So you've got large hydrogen facilities as well. So anything you want to check out, you can have a look. So this is the battery storage rollout. You can see here.
So this is the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero.
Yeah, that's correct. So the renewable energy planning database. And you can see all of the thing. So if I take the battery one off, then you can have a look at, I don't know, whatever else you want to have a look at. It doesn't tell you everything, but then you can have a look at the solar. So this is the solar. Yeah. You can see it's quite unprecedented.
And with the wind turbines, it's the impact on wildlife as well.
Yeah, so it's estimated.
Catastrophic.
It's estimated, but that the amount that we've got now, I think it's just over 11,000 wind turbines in total, and I'm not sure if that covers both on and offshore. However, they're estimating about 10,000 up to 100,000 birds are killed per year because of the wind, the blades of the turbines. But what people don't realize is it takes, on average, for a commercial wind turbine, on average, it takes about 1,000 tons of concrete to cement that into the ground.
Yeah.
And the noise that's generated from them is a nuance to people. Yeah.
So these are the issues. What are the solutions? Some issues. We're tip of the iceberg, but we're very much solution focused, aren't we? It's not nice hearing this stuff, but we need to be aware. But as long as we can come at it with solutions, and that means coming together to do that.
It's very easy when what I've seen with regards to especially the solar rollout and the battery energy storage system is people will get, you know, they will identify that in their area. And then what they'll do is do like maybe a leafleting campaign, organize meetings. You know, we've got an application that's gone in up north. I won't say where it is, but it's a battery energy storage system application. And it's going to be near to a primary school. So can you imagine if that maybe caught on fire or anything like that, what would happen? So the person who's running this particular residents association, he's written to the headmaster at the school, and also put that that application details and wrote an article for the local newspaper. So now all the parents are going to hear about that, because nobody would want their children to be going to school knowing that
that's the potential threat.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So that's
raising
just
awareness, isn't it? It's getting the messages out there and bringing people together.
only the community has a solution. It's just you've got to find that problem and then galvanize people
Yeah.
in a way that brings them together. And
Yeah.
that can be about an array of topics, Lisa. It doesn't have to be about solar rollout. It doesn't have to be,
Absolutely.
you know, there's a lot of unimaginable things that are happening in the country right now. You know, we're seeing protests, we're seeing all of these people being followed by men and all different types of topics that are going on that the general public don't agree with. So if you bring people together on a topic or some topics, then you can educate people about more topics as you're going along the journey. And that really is starting to kickstart the solution. When you have public pressure, that's when you have a stronger voice, because you are taking that onus away from yourself, and you're then representing your community, knowing that you actually have support with the people locally.
And what are you seeing from councils around the country? Are they in cahoots? Are they ignorant to the impact of the thing? Because they are, at the end of the day, the government's deciding what's going to happen, but they're rolling these things out, aren't they?
Yeah, it's very variable, that one is. It's a very variable one. There's some groups that go out and liaise with their councillors and they build that relationship, and then they will go and talk at council meetings. Some councils will just completely ignore people, so you have to get that public pressure. Then we've got another groups that we're working with now, where there are different councillors around the country, where we're starting to work with campaigns with them, so that when we do that campaign in the local area, we say, well, actually, come and meet your councillor. That's what we're looking at doing in a few different locations with a few different campaigns that we're just starting. Because obviously that gives people, that starts to win over people's trust.
Yeah.
Because trust has been shattered and completely eroded, especially right now.
Absolutely.
So that's variable. That one's entirely variable. But I do feel that some of the political parties are becoming concerned because of the unprecedented changes, and they're starting to feel the pressure. So
now is the time to act.
basically, yeah. You've hit the
And
nail on the
really,
head.
you know, I think we both agree, doing nothing is not an option anymore.
No. And the world,
Yes.
I mean, if everybody did this, what I'm saying, in their local area, can you imagine the difference that would make? And it's so easy. I mean, if we can stop 3 out of 4 5G towers going up in one area just from a leaflet drop, I mean, what more can you actually do if you focus on things that people don't want?
Yeah.
You know, the power lies within us. It's just igniting that is all we have to do.
It is. Absolutely. And I mean, you provide downloadable leaflets, don't you, to help people get started. Connect the Dots has created a discovery pack for people wanting to get started in their area. So with tools, resources, downloadables to get them started. It is that first step is the hardest part, I think,
Yeah.
for people, because they do tend to think it's just me, I'm just one person, and you're not. It starts with a conversation. It sparks that change. One conversation, one thought, can be so impactful that the ripples are far reaching. So don't be afraid to get going. The resources are there. We will share all of these in the description of this video, but don't be afraid to get going. There's people having exactly the same ideas as you do, living very close to you. It's just about finding people and getting together.
It really is. And if you don't try, you don't know, Lisa. And
Absolutely.
I've really found a lot of success with, you know, direct leaflet campaigns. And I tell you for why. I think sometimes people feel embarrassed to talk to people in the streets and the high street and these kind of things, and they feel a bit nervous. Is it going to be a bit taboo and, you know, those kind of things. So we found a lot of success doing it kind of, you know, direct sort of leaflet campaigning.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just had a quick question for you. What is the sort of government line on why all of this? You know, why such a big push to source all of this energy, whether it's wind or sun, and to store it and to make it available, and then to have these big storage places, which only keeps the charge alive for what, 6 or 7 hours, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay. So after 7 hours of no wind, basically there's no energy left in that, right? And the turbines stopped. I just wondered, and also from the map that you showed, I mean, it's barely a place that doesn't have something going on. I'm just wondering if they are telling their side of why this is necessary and what it's going to be used for. And I'll just say that I've heard that there's a lot of energy that needs to be used in these massive data centers. I don't know if that's connected to what it is that you're talking about, or if you've heard of that. Or I mean, I would like to know what's pushing this, what's driving it, because on the surface, people will think, if they haven't really dug into it, they would normally think, well, what's wrong with generating our own energy? Isn't that a good thing? You know, isn't it great that we have wind and we have sun and we're harvesting it and we can have our own energy? Isn't that a good thing? And a few years ago, I probably would have been aligned with that thought. And I just wondered where you are in this. I mean, if people come to you and say, "Well, what's wrong with generating energy? You know, don't we need energy?" And I'm wondering if yeah, what would be your response to that?
Okay, so this is always a tricky one for me because this is not in my area of expertise. I will be brutally honest with you. I think it's more about the magnitude and how it's going to change the landscape from the disposition that I really do come from. As I mentioned just a few moments ago, though, the government's line is about that we need to be more sustainable. And with sustainability, and one of the main drivers was because of the Ukrainian-Russian war. And I'll see if I can dig that document out because I think it's very, very important when you read their literature as to why and what they're telling people, which I started to read this particular document. I can't remember the name of it now, so please excuse me. But I wanted to understand this question myself. Why, what was the motive and what was the main driver and what are they telling people about it? But what they're not telling people is well, I mean, they are in a sense because there is that website, as I've just shown live on the screen. So they are telling people, it's just it's not commonly known, should we say, unless you know about it. Because if you know about it, then you know where to look and you can go and delve in deeper and you can find it. But again, like you mentioned, data centers, and then if you think about 5G towers, it's on average, it's costing about 73 to 75 houses worth of power to fuel one. Somebody analysed frequently one on a pole mast, 3-bedroom house, the size of a 3-bedroom house. So if we've got about 41,000 or approximately there, so the figures tell me there could be more. We don't know. If we're fueling data centers and then we're fueling 5G towers, are all these things new? Then we are now the 3rd most heavily surveilled country in the world, which again, all of these cameras take electric, etc. Why do we need all of these things anyway? That's the biggest question. Why do we need all of these towers? Why do we need, well, we know why they want this. It's because it's part of their 4th industrial revolution. And that's where it all comes together with, you know, the Internet of Things. Yeah, with the smart city agenda. So of course, but if we're changing our infrastructure that we've had for many, many years, we've never really had a problem. It's been very reliable. And now all of a sudden, because of the Ukrainian war, which, you know, is what they're telling people, if we're then changing that to this drastic new way of doing things, which people just are completely unaware of unless they've got a solar farm going up in their area, how do we know that it's sustainable? How do we actually know what an ecology assessment would look like in 25 years' time? What would the ground look like after solar panels have been in that field for X amount of years?
Has there been any environmental assessment on any of this? And is it published?
Some are asking for them. Some are asking for them. Yeah. Yeah. Some are asking, and that is groups are asking that question.
Okay. Because I know,
You know,
go ahead.
it's not unlike safety data for certain interventions, medical interventions.
Yeah.
Mm.
I have some data which shows the thing works and it doesn't kill a lot of people in the meantime. I'm talking about, you know, medical kind of interventions because that's my area. But you do need to know ahead of time rather than, for instance, rolling something out and just having a big general experiment on the population. So I just wondered if there was any environmental assessment and who would have done it and, you know, what was
You
the...
have to ask for them at the council phase, so when it's going through planning.
Oh, okay.
So you would have to catch the solar farm or, you know, whatever renewable energy. I mean, even whether it's a data center, you have to then ask if there's been an environmental assessment done, an ecological assessment. Mm.
The council would have those.
Well, they would need
Why not?
to, they would instruct or get the person who submitted the application to do one. And it can slow down planning decisions as well.
So it's a good question to ask.
This is an extremely good question to ask. Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
is where the NRA can guide people through these steps of how to make an objection, let's say.
Yes. Very, and how to look for it as well. And that's why monitoring your council is very important. However, there are other things going on that could change the dynamics of the country further. And most people are starting to see unitary councils forming around the country. So I don't know if people really know about that. But what that means is that there is the potential that we are not hearing about devolution. And devolution could mean, I'll say could mean, that the elected mayors will have more rights to make new laws, in particular about planning decisions, policing, and other sort of decisions under the proviso of the government's overarching structure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I need to go now. I'm just a little bit confused because I thought this was a meeting for practitioners. I think, I think I'm in the wrong meeting probably.
No problem. It's good to see you here, Rosella.
Okay,
See you
thank you.
soon. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I think unless you've any more questions, Gar, I think it's a good time to wrap up. I think we've just really scratched the surface here, haven't we, Cassie? But it's great just to give people a little bit of insight into what is happening around the country, that inspire them to know that there are people coming together in their communities, and we want to see that grow and flourish, and we have the tools and the support to give people to make that happen.
Absolutely. And honestly, Lisa, that's what it's all about. And if we really, really want to bring people together, we need to be out there in our communities 100%.
So
Because
much.
these problems are only persisting because we don't have community support. That's it, really.
And
So,
that's why we have been divided for the last 20, 30, 40 years. You know, what we, and so many people say to me when I talk about Connect the Dots, we need to go back to when everybody knew everybody in their street, that they helped with the kids when, you know, in the summer holidays, etc., and the doors were open to help each other out. Somebody got sick, everybody rallied, and that's what's been driven out of our communities. And the isolation, the loneliness, it's heartbreaking, but we can solve that problem pretty quickly.
yeah. And that's by showing compassion to others and being known and showing compassion and support. And it only starts with people like you and I, Lisa, and everybody else.
Definitely.
So,
Definitely. So we will put plenty of information in the description of this video. I hope it's useful to anybody watching it. I'll make sure that you can get in touch with us, both from the National Residents Association point of view and also Connect the Dots. And thank you, Cassie and Gar. Gar is our dementia ambassador. So it's great to have you here, and thank
It's
you
always a
both.
pleasure to join into your discussions, and it's nice to hear from you again, Cassie. I really enjoyed your talk at the Wellness Way Festival, and it was nice to meet you there, and so it's nice to see you again.
oh, it was lovely to meet you as well. And honestly,
Great.
Lisa, thank you. It was lovely to be there. It was great. It was a great
It was
weekend.
amazing, and
It
that's
was.
it. That's why we're doing this, because it started. It really ignited the passion in people, I think, to make change, and I want to make sure we harness that and run with it and really build on it, because I think what we've got here all together is something really special, and we can change the world.
Yeah, we can. We can, Lisa.
We win.
We win. That's how I sign off my emails. We win.
Take care, guys. We'll
Great.
speak
See you
again.
later. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.